You know who's not done with their work yet? The Department of Justice, headed by Merrick Garland. They are still going after Jan 6th insurrectionists that have not yet been brought to justice. That stands in stark contrast to Donald Trump threatening, that's no other way to put it, threatening to pardon even those he suggested that battered police would be eligible to be reviewed for a pardon on quote unquote day one. He's got a lot to do on day one for a guy that works 5 days a week or 5 hours a day and then plays a lot of golf. But we'll cover it all right here on this new reporting about at least 200 more insurrectionists who are going to be brought to charges by this Department of Justice. You're on MeidasTouch and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. So let me do it by the numbers, then we'll compare and contrast to what Donald Trump is threatening to do and why, from a policy standpoint, the Department of Justice is continuing to do their job. It's important. I'll do other hot takes about what our world will look like in a Kash Patel-led FBI, a Pam Bondi-led Department of Justice. I don't know why I'm putting it that way. A Donald Trump-led Department of Justice, what that looks like. You think New Orleans was bad? You think Vegas was bad? Wait till you see. I'll do it on another hot take. But let me focus now on Jan 6. Let's do it by the numbers. About 1,583 people were indicted related to that. We thought there were more than 2,000 that were actually on the grounds at the time. But, they used prosecutorial discretion. So the Department of Justice prosecuted 1,583 plus or minus insurrectionists. Of that amount, 996,000, take it right off the top, they pled guilty to a felony or a misdemeanor. 215 wanted their day in court. There's been 215 trials related to Jan 6, both bench, meaning by the judge, and by jury. This is why it's the most extraordinary prosecution ever conducted by the Department of Justice in its history. I'll do my own criticism of Merrick Garland and his failure to go after the leaders like Donald Trump of the insurrection. But in terms of the people that were following orders, they certainly went after them. Now, add to that, based on a statistical report issued by the Department of Justice, there'll be another 200 that will be brought to justice. Now, within that amount, let me just keep doing the math here. Of the 1,583, 600, so a little bit less than half, were indicted for assault or impeding through violence law enforcement. 174 illegally entering in a restricted area with a dangerous weapon. 18 seditious conspiracy. We all agree that number's not high enough. That 18 number probably should have been about 40 or 50, including Bannon, Flynn, Giuliani, Powell, the lawyers, Donald Trump, all the unindicted co-conspirators in the D.C. election interference case, and the rest. That's the math. Why? Let's take a moment out for a minute. Why, you may be asking, does the Department of Justice even care? Because once they've decided to indict, right, these people, it increases the amount of resources Donald Trump's going to have to expend, political or otherwise, to bail these insurrectionists out. And they're going to make Donald Trump look the American people in the eye and tell them why some of these people, these 1,583, why they're being pardoned. But in order for him to have to explain that and waste political capital and use his political capital, the Department of Justice has to do their job and has to indict and prosecute. Now, the 200, of course, are not going to be brought to justice between now and Donald Trump getting in on January 20th, but they will now be prosecuted. And Donald Trump's now going to have to review these people and decide whether they are entitled to any type of pardon at all. So it's forcing Donald Trump to use his political capital, explain to the American people, and in the meantime, Department of Justice doing their job, which they're supposed to do. It shouldn't be the situation, this is the public policy standpoint, that just because this guy gets elected, that everybody that stormed the Capitol or does the next Jan 6th or something worse gets a free ride by the Department of Justice. Now, some might be asking, why didn't they prosecute these people before? Why are we in January, literally the day before the certification, a day before the 4-year anniversary? They're just getting around to prosecuting 200 people? Takes a while. I mean, the evidence has to come together. They're thoughtful. They're careful. They're making decisions about liberty and justice. And so they were not knee-jerk. And I'm sure these 200, they needed to build more evidence, get more people testifying against them, more cooperating witnesses, and then just run it up the flagpole within the Department of Justice and decide to bring the indictment. But they've done it. Your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Sleeping on bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code LegalAF at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And now Donald Trump's going to be facing looks like 1,800 or so insurrectionists, many of which already pled guilty. 1,000 already pled guilty. Another 215 went to trial. Most of them lost. I think like one prevailed. And all the charges, the assault, entering an area restricted with a deadly weapon, and seditious conspiracy and the like. That's now on Donald Trump. So if he's going to try to do all these day one things, including getting rid of, and I've already predicted that there's already a spreadsheet of pardons that have been prepared. Remember the old binder of women that Mitt Romney talked about? There's going to be a spreadsheet of pardons that Donald Trump already has prepared for him, listing a lot, if not all, of these 1,583 or 1,800 people. Maybe he carves out the 18 that were convicted of seditious conspiracy that make up the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and others that are serving, anywhere between 5 and 20 years in jail. I don't know. When he was interviewed, Donald Trump said, well, it's all on the table. I'm going to be looking at it all. And even the MAGA reporter was like, the Republican reporter was like, everyone? Even the ones, the dregs that are in the Jan 6 jail because they are a menace to society, because they tried to use weapons and instruments of death to kill law enforcement, them too? Oh, everything's on the table. That's who just got elected president. Mr. Everything's on the table. But I like this move. I've been following Jan 6th trials, indictments, and convictions since like day one. I mean, literally, we've had Legal AF for 4.5 years, almost 5 years, so certainly before Jan 6th. I've been doing hot takes. It'll be 2 years and 2 months. I started Thanksgiving 2 years ago doing this kind of hot take other than Legal AF. And I've been doing Jan 6th reporting about insurrectionist convictions, sentencing, and the like, all that time. Go back and look. I have hundreds and hundreds of Jan 6 things. So I've been there from the beginning. And I've got a pretty good sense. I mean, you got federal judges who have expressed tremendous concern and disgust with Donald Trump pardoning these people. I mean, Royce Lamperth, a Republican nominee at the DC Circuit Court, said, we cannot allow the normalization of the Jan 6 Capitol riot. Other judges, even those appointed by Donald Trump, like Carl Nichols, said it would be an abuse of power and disappointing, he said, if the pardons were issued against these people. Because there's only two groups of people in America, three groups of people in America that knows really what happened on Jan 6th. The Jan 6th insurrectionists, as recorded on their GoPros and on their StreamYards and streaming services and everything else. That's one. The Department of Justice and the FBI, because they have all the video, the surveillance, they've gone through all the social media, they've done all the interviews and depositions and all that. And judges and the juries in maybe 100 cases. That's the only groups that know. That's the only groups that saw the unedited footage. It looked like a medieval battle that, the Game of Thrones showrunners would have been proud of. What was going on at the Western Tunnel and the like. 5 people died. Law enforcement took their own life because of the horrors that they had seen that day. People had heart attacks and died. This was not a love fest, as Donald Trump calls it now. Remember that Donald Trump, the day after Jan 6th, or on or about 4 years ago, he said they defiled the seat of democracy, and he was ashamed of them. But for purely political reasons, he flipped the script, found a way to embrace Jan 6th and use it in his victimhood to win office. That's all we watched during the election. I am a victim like you are, American people. I never realized the American people and voters consider themselves to be victims. But this victimization of the electorate through Donald Trump and his claiming that he's one of them. And there was just First Amendment expression of love on Jan 6th completely as a sane-washing, whitewashing, gaslighting moment in our history. The history books will properly record, at least the ones in the blue states and colleges, will properly record what happened and Donald Trump's role in it. And we'll continue to keep him accountable right here on MeidasTouch and the Legal AF podcast. We've got a new channel. And we're well on our way to our goal of 500,000 subscribers in less than 6 months of existence. That's all on you guys. I'm curating that channel, doing a lot of the content along with others like Dina Dahl, Court Accountability Action, Shan Wu, and the like. But and we built it, Legal AF and Legal AF, the YouTube channel, which is at Legal AF MTN, to be durable, to be resilient, to be rigorous in our analysis and criticism of the incoming presidency and his abuse of power and constitutional crises and all of the lawsuits that are going to be filed. You're going to want to know about them through Legal AF and our lens. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.